Good morning, ladies. Today is September the 13th. My name is Marty Hicks. Oh, I'm changing it. I just got married and I'm changing it to Forrest. So it will be Marty Forrest. That's super cool. Super exciting.
Yes,
and my website is Hello Extraordinary Life. I am going to be offering my next course, my next mentoring group course, beginning Saturday, September 30th. It's 6 weeks. It will run for 7 this time because I'm going to have 1 week I'm out of town. So it'll run from September 30th until November the 11th. You can check out the website. All of the calls are recorded. And you can check out any previous call is on the website under Insider Calls. So they've all been recorded from the past. And you can pick a topic and listen to anything. They're all fairly short. I also do one-on-one coaching for people who are interested in going deeper and having more than a group mentoring type format. Let's start today with, I had my title as My Extraordinary Life because I just got married on the 9th, last Saturday, and it was an amazing experience. It was just extraordinary. I love that word extraordinary because it explains it in a way that there's not many other adjectives that just sum up that day. I can tell you it wouldn't have been like that if I hadn't done, and he hadn't done, the transformational work that we've done over the years. We had very similar timelines, and we have very similar histories, and we knew when we came together that if we continued doing what we've always done, we would get what we've always gotten. And we laid it out on the table, and we talked about it, and we looked at our behaviors and the things that we've done that didn't work and decided what we want to implement going forward in our relationship and making sure that we stay clean and clear in our relationship and our communication. And it takes practice. That stuff takes practice. It wasn't always easy to do that. And we've learned that there were some places that still needed a little salve for healing that we didn't know were still there. And that was also the result of all the stuff that we've done leading up into this relationship. I know some people do it in one relationship. I've done it in many. And either way works. It just, I don't know. I don't have a way to say like what's better or not better. I just know that it works if we're willing to do and to go into ourselves and learn what is effective in our life and what's not effective and learning how to let that go. I wanted to talk about our wounding that we carry on in our lifetime and our generations. That's what I've been really focusing on lately. I started a course on the shadow work, and my course is working with the inner child, my 6-week course that deals with the inner child and learning how to build that relationship. Because if we sorry, something came in and distracted me. If we never heal the original wounding, then we continue acting from that place. And we get triggered by many, many things. I know, Stacey, you're in that situation with your mother-in-law. And the other piece of that is they're passed on. Our wounds are passed on from generation to generation. It's a generational wounding from the beginning of time, I suspect. And whatever humans learned early, we pass it on. Each generation, we pass it on. Not a fault, not a wrong thing. It's just how it is. It's a function of us being human. Now we've passed on the wound to our next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation. And I'm committed to we are the generation that are changing that. We are breaking the cycle by healing those wounds, by learning that they're not even our wounds to begin with. The wounds I've taken on are just they're like a by default because our parents didn't know, their parents didn't know, their parents didn't know. We're a different generation today where many of us are willing to look and shine a light into those shadows and to heal them and to learn that they're not mine to begin with. The messages I carry from my childhood were not mine. They were given to me, and I took them on as if they are my own. Now they're my own voice. I don't even recognize that it was someone else's message because it's my own voice. Not only is it my own voice, I now subscribe to it and I believe it. And it's not true, but it is a wound. It is a wound. And when we can begin to see that it wasn't ours to begin with, I found it a little easier to be able to let it go. A little easier to become more objective and go, where did that come from? Is it mine to begin with? And if it's not, someone shared with me recently when we were in Oklahoma, this woman just randomly, a God moment, said, my daughter came up to me and she decided to give me back my pain. I just looked at her like, why are you sharing this with me? Her daughter's doing her own stuff and came to her mom and said, I'm working on whatever I'm working on and I'm just going to give you back your pain instead of carrying it on as my own. And the woman sharing this with me said, I thanked her because I know I did some things, or at least her interpretation of what I did caused pain. And she gave it back to her mom. So her mom can, neutralize it or whatever she needs to do, but the daughter no longer has to carry that. And I got a really powerful image of that because we carry these wounds, and if we can give them back in a neutral, not a way that we want to cause harm, but we say, I'm no longer willing to carry the pain of my generations before me. The time to stop it and to break that pattern is now because it's not serving me and it's not serving my life. How do we do that? That's one way to give it back. The other way is to really be willing to look and shine a light on myself and into those places that I don't want to look because it's painful and it hurts. All the hurt is my attachment to the pain. If we can, when we can, become objective, come as an observer, simply looking as we do our inventory, we take inventory, we look from an objective place at the assets and the not assets, I can't remember the other way we say it, but the things that aren't serving, and we're just looking, and we're taking stock, and we're taking inventory. Oh, that's not working. Well, then how can we let that go? How can we move on? How can we heal that or put some salve on it or love ourselves enough to know that there's no fault. It's not a fault thing. It's not a blame, shame thing. It's simply a thing. It's simply us being human beings in this life at this time. The behaviors that show up out of those wounds are the things usually trying to protect the wound because we don't want to feel that pain anymore. Comes out as defensiveness, insecurity, people-pleasing, all the labels you can think of. Those are usually behaviors trying to protect that wound. It's a counterintuitive thing. It doesn't really protect it. It actually cements the wound in and holds it there. Because we don't look at it. We don't want to feel it. It's simply what's so. It's often unconscious. It's something that I share because I want us to be able to begin to look and to know that it's not a fault, it's not a shame, it's not a blame. It's simply being human. And it's a function of being human. The duality of being human. We wouldn't know what it's like to love if we didn't have all this other stuff. Or to feel joy if we didn't feel anger. And someone told me once that as deeply as I feel, and my default emotion is anger, so as deeply as I can feel angry is also as deeply as I can love. And I'm going to tell you that scared the crap out of me. Because I knew how angry I was, but I had no idea how to love that deeply. And that was uncomfortable. So as much as we carry whatever our pain or our anger or our stuff, our baggage, on the other side of that, we can feel all the joy and the bliss and the desire and the love just as deeply. I'm going to end there. And I'm going to unmute you. All right.
Thank you.
How did that land for you? Anything resonate for you?
Is Stacy still there?
I believe so. She's on. I see her on the screen. She might be muted.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was talking and I still had you guys on mute.
Oh.
So you wouldn't hear my background forklift underneath me. No, I was saying this is Stacy, and I took a lot of notes. Giving back people their pain instead of carrying it on. I need to learn that. I need to learn that because that's one of my biggest sins. For as far back as I can remember, especially my mom. My mom always shared her pain, worries, fears, anxieties, everything with me since I was so young. And so for me, it's very easy to take it, put it on. I'm doing
those of us
right now.
So, I didn't hear that last part. Say that again.
I said I'm doing the same thing in the same relationship that's going on right now.
Yes. Yes. When we are taught and conditioned that way, that's what we know. We are also either highly sensitive or empathic. So sometimes a simple question of, is it mine or is it theirs? And often when I ask that question, then whatever energy I've taken on from someone else, it just dissipates.
Okay.
Especially if it's not mine. If it's mine, then I'll carry it. I don't have to know who it is. I don't even have to know what it is. I just know that I've taken on something that doesn't belong to me. And I've learned to discern that today, but if you don't know yet, you simply ask the universe, God, whatever you call that, is just my stuff.
Okay.
And the other piece of giving their pain back, you can do a meditation. I took someone through a meditation. It was very, very effective, and I simply had her take all that pain and put it in a ball of light, and hand it back to the person. So it's in the light, so it doesn't have to go back to them to cause more pain for them, but you're giving it back in a good, neutral way so that you don't have to carry it anymore.
So repeat that again. You put it in?
Put it in a ball of light.
In a ball of light. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just if you hold your hand out and you imagine a ball of light. Have you ever done that energy exercise where you rub your hands together and you can feel that energy?
Okay.
Between your hands? Just imagine there's a ball of light.
Okay.
And you're holding a ball of light, and you just dump all that pain in there, all that stuff that doesn't belong to you, and you hand it back to them. Okay. In love and in light and in neutral. Because they only did it out of their wounds. They don't even know they're doing it. Is that helpful?
Yes, very much.
Yes.
I like the part, the no fault, shame, blame thing. It just is what it is.
We are so quick as humans to get caught in our own blaming ourselves and shaming ourselves.
Uh-huh.
First of all, it's not ours, because that comes out of our generations. It's also cultural. If you look at our culture and how the messages are in our culture. So there's nobody to blame in all this. It's simply a function of being human. That's what I want to be really clear about, because I did it to myself for a lot of years. The blame and the shame, and I carried it on as my own, and it has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you could come. It was a perfect topic for today.
Yeah, I'm so glad I came to. It was a God thing.
Absolutely.
It's a great topic, and I have an assignment for myself now. As I go into, well, I'm going to practice that, giving back the pain that I have over my father's death and my mom's as well, and neutralize that as I go. And I'm going to a meditation group at noon, and so I'm going to take care of it there.
Woohoo!
That's beautiful.
I love that.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
That's good. And the one thing I did mark down here was the generational coping skills.
Mhm.
Because what I realized after maybe the last few years, after I had some information that my father didn't have the coping skills, passed it on to my brother, affected him that way. And, I certainly didn't get it from my mom, coping skills that were, functional,
Right.
really functional.
Absolutely.
So I need to get rid of that, because I need to move on to other things. I got other things going on, so that's
Right.
cool. Yeah.
Most of our parents of the generation before us, many, not most, but many, did not have the coping skills to pass on.
Uh-huh.
And my mom and dad came from that generation. The generation before them were of the, it has left my head, when the market crashed in the late 20s and 30s.
Yes.
The Depression, thank you.
Right.
So my grandma's a hoarder, and then my mom comes, and she's this totally organized person, but she still has no coping skills of her emotional person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ditto here. And you know what I've noticed is a lot of, me, not necessarily me, but people I know and my husband and stuff, a lot of sexual abuse that was hidden way back when.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
That is now, that's not right. But 50 years ago, nobody talked about it, and it happened all over.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That was a shame thing. You didn't talk about things that would bring bad news or bad view of the family.
Of the family, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I was just listening to a woman who I joined. It's a closed group for entrepreneurs, and she said she was raped when she was 16, and she didn't talk about it until about 8 years ago, and she's in her 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of her story, but she kept it a secret for all those years. And I think, oh gosh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I get
what you carry with that. So, and she's 60, how old is she, 64 or 5? So she's right in that generation of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's 72. So that genre of people, they just didn't know. And I think it's important for us to remember that we need to stop blaming them. They didn't know, and they don't want to change it. That's what I've learned. They're not really. My mom is not interested in changing.
No.
Mm.
It's almost like
what she will do is respond differently to me when I change. That's what I see the result is. When I change, then the people, my parents, my family, the people around me respond differently to me. Mm-hmm. So I stopped most of the time, I stopped expecting them to change.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not always that, but for the most part, I've stopped expecting them to change. And I just do my own stuff. I do my own work, my own transformations. So when I'm different, they're different. Mm. My view changes, my energy changes around them, and then they are different with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have 9:31, so I want to honor our time together. I know Stacey's at work.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.